Hi, this is Rick Batista of School Street Social, and I'm here with Maria Requena, also, is how you pronounce your last name? Requena?
Mhm.
Also known as Sunflower Summit, who is one of our featured artists that we're looking to have hit the stage on Saturday, June 3rd in Roscoe Village. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me, Maria. How's life treating you these days?
Pretty good. Thank you so much for having me over.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I know we're all busy, so sharing a little bit of your time with me is very, very greatly appreciated. I read that your love for music started back in middle school. Middle school. Tell us about your beginnings and what were you listening to, playing or writing?
Okay, sure. Yeah. I've been in music pretty much my whole life. Started doing choir at like 7 and guitar
Okay.
around. I didn't actually start writing though until much later. I started writing out short stories and poems, and I like tried to write a book with my friend.
Yeah.
That was really fun. I started to try to make some songs in middle school, and none of those are any good. Like, we don't talk about that.
You can
Uh,
you kind of can't mold them into something worthy of listening to these days, or
oh, absolutely not.
no?
I did practice playing other covers though. I played a lot of Paramore growing up,
Okay.
um, and kept writing through high school. Got to college. I never thought that being an artist and being songwriting was going to be my focus at that point. I was going to school for music education, and ended up not even finishing music education. I ended up finishing with entrepreneurship,
Okay.
um, because I was offered a leadership scholarship. And in order to take that scholarship, I would have to add a minor in leadership, which opened up a bunch of doors into like other things. And I just kind of followed it where it went. And in college, I would kind of just play around, open mics sometimes, and occasionally get a gig here and there, but it was never anything serious.
Yeah.
Um, After college, I um, accepted a job as a math tutor at a couple of high schools in CPS. So I did that for a while, because I have also been offered a volunteer position with the Peace Corps. So I had thought that I was going to be a Peace Corps volunteer, that I was going to be an educator through them. Um, and then about a month before departure, they told me that that wasn't going to happen anymore. So I was really upset about it, and I had a lot of feelings. And
Yeah.
I went back to songwriting. I hadn't like done any songwriting in like a year or so, and I just hopped back into it and got my first album out of it, which is called Love Notes.
Hmm.
And I released that album in 2019,
Okay.
like in December of 2019. So quick timeline, COVID happened
Hmm.
uh, right after the release of that album. And I learned production during that time. I learned how to record myself, dove into doing custom work and session vocals for other people. Um, and I'm an artist with Songfinch too, so I get a lot of regular work from Songfinch where they send me songs and I like song briefs, and then I write them and record them from home and produce them and send them off.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so mm, it's interesting. I never really intended to become an artist,
Hmm.
but then I became an artist.
Yeah.
And it's great. I released my second album in 2022, along with another little collection of snow songs, and I'm just keeping going, continuing to accept any kind of audio work, whether that's session vocals or custom songwriting or instrumental cues, and continuing to work on the next album right now.
Awesome. What was the first song that you wrote after the Peace Corps
Oh,
experience?
oh, I don't even know. Um,
Or did they just kind of come flowing at one time?
I write a lot and I write really fast. So
Okay.
oftentimes what happens when I write an album is I'll write like anywhere between 30 and 50 songs, but only like 12 to 15 songs is what I'll work on. So
Hmm.
like I I don't remember half the songs I write because
Yeah.
like to me it's like it's muscle memory, I guess. I
Yeah.
like get started and I write. And have been able to practice writing really quickly because of Songfinch, because of the work that I get, the type of
Hmm.
work as a musician. Um, I have to do like really quick turnarounds, so I can't be like agonizing over one song for over a week.
Yeah.
Uh, at that point, it's late because I think for Songfinch, the deadline is 4 days
Okay.
that I have to like turn things in. But I'm usually try to get it in within 24 hours so that I can just keep on moving to the next one.
Hmm.
Uh, so I, I couldn't remember. I've written too many things to like remember every little thing.
And do you ever go back to something that you wrote and say, I need to make this better?
Um, Only if it pops into my head again.
Yeah.
Like,
Otherwise, you're
okay,
just plowing through.
yeah, occasionally I'll like remember, oh, this line was a good one, and I'll like do a little Google search of my own like Google Drive
Hmm.
to find it. And sometimes I'll read what I wrote and be like, oh, that's gross, or like that's really bad, that's
Yeah.
why I liked it. But I'll take this line and like rework it and make a whole new thing from it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's sometimes yeah, done is better than perfect, depending on
Oh,
what
yeah,
the
and
task is before you. But
the way that I see it too, because like this is an ongoing conversation within like the songwriter community.
hmm.
It's the sense of like perfectionism and being too attached to your songs. If you have a big ego about your music and
Yeah.
you are like scrutinizing over every little thing and you're not like willing to accept any help or be a good collaborator with other people, then you're going to be stuck on one song
Yeah.
for a long time. And you could totally be that kind of songwriter who like does that and like remembers everything that they've ever written because they're only making like one song at a time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then with that, you're also just kind of waiting for inspiration to strike. And like, if you want to do this professionally, you don't always have time to wait for inspiration to strike. You kind of have to create your own inspiration.
Hmm.
Um, because like my aim is to become full time with music.
Okay.
And right now, music makes about a third of my income. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm on my way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely like one of the lessons I learned pretty early on. You can't wait for inspiration and you can't sit on one song forever. If it's not good, collaborate, get another writer in there and like keep working through it.
Hmm.
And if it's not going anywhere with that, okay, just move on,
Yeah.
go do something else because there's no point in like agonizing over one thing
Have
when
you
there's
ever
ability out there.
but you got cut out there, what'd you say?
Oh, just there's no point in agonizing over one
Yeah.
thing. So much more possibility out there.
Oh yeah. And sometimes you have to like just step away for a little bit and go back to it, or
Oh,
it'll come back to you.
exactly, and that's like when those lines kind of stick out, and you're like, "Oh, that actually was a good line. Let
Yeah.
me follow, think, and see what else can come out of that."
Have you ever seen the movie Once?
Um, yes, that's the song.
Glenn Hansard, Swell Season, Glenn Hansard and Marquita
Yeah,
or
I
Glover.
have.
Yeah.
Mm.
I had the joy of seeing them in concert, soon after they won the Oscar and everything. And they
Cool.
talked about that when they were, they were, or I don't know if it was Glenn or them as a musical group, they were talking about like they were encountering a problem and they're just trying to get through this wall. But they realized if they turn around and walk away all the way around the world, they find themselves on the other side of the wall.
Hmm.
I think we kind of butt our heads up against the wall sometimes because we are
Oh,
trying to
yeah,
perfect
absolutely.
things.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot that can get caught up in perfectionism or like ego too. Like I've run into this with collaborators sometimes, or like um I'll be like, actually, I think that there's a better way that we can say this, or we can get this to fit the rhythms a little bit better if we tweak this one thing or whatever. And they'll be so attached to what they wrote that they'll like
Hmm.
they won't let that happen. It's like, well,
Yeah,
what's the aim here? Like, are we trying to make the best song that we can make, or what? Because you're not open to feedback. You're not like taking any tips from other people.
yeah. A little bit more about your history. So you are from the Chicago region originally, right? You grew up in Grays Lake.
Yeah.
Did you come straight to Chicago from there, or did you have some stops in
Um,
between?
no. So yeah, I went to college in Naperville,
Okay.
um, Central, and while I was in North Central, I got to study abroad.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and I lived in Italy for 6 months, and I got to do a lot of traveling.
Very
Um,
cool.
my family's also Mexican American, so like I've spent a lot of time in Mexico. Grew up just
Hmm.
kind of taking trips all the time and getting to explore a bunch of different places and yeah, so I've kind of wandered around. I've been to a lot of different places and I've lived in Mexico, I've lived here, I've lived in Italy, um, and decided to come here because when I was offered the Peace Corps volunteer position, I was like, it doesn't make sense to go settle somewhere else right now.
Yeah.
When I'm about to go to like another country. Um, so, the timing of it all, I ended up in Chicago and I actually really like it. I've created like a lot of friends here, a lot of community, um, and have been able to do music and find fulfilling work that I really enjoy. Because outside of music, I also do mental health education and I also barista at a coffee shop that is super awesome. And I love making drinks and hanging out with people.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty good, but I have considered moving. Like maybe I'll try New York or maybe
Hmm.
I'll like go out of the country again because that sounds nice.
What was your favorite place outside of the States?
Oh, hmm. Well, I'm very partial to Milan because that's where I was based when I studied abroad.
Okay.
But I love Granada and Sevilla and London. Berlin was really cool too. There's just so many places. Like, I think ultimate dream would be to not have to live anywhere and just like be in Airbnbs from time to time and like
Hmm.
hop along to different places whenever I got bored and keep moving.
Yeah, I've definitely had that feeling too sometimes, just to see where the day, where the wind takes you, and just keep on moving around, explore the world. That definitely would be a lot of stories there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I was going to ask you a question, I guess particular to Chicago, but since you've traveled so much, uh, how do you feel your travels have impacted your kind of musical journey as an artist?
Hmm. I think I don't know what influences what at this point because I really enjoy just learning new things in general.
Hmm.
Um, I get really excited about new topics, and I remember at one point um, I took some classes at a community college, like to help get some of the gen ed credits out of the way, and I was so into this one history class. It was really good that the teacher who was teaching that gave me a book on Marie Antoinette and is like, here you go for your future historian things. And like, she was like so set that I was going to be a history major. And I was like, oh, no, I'm going in for music, like
Yeah.
completely different. I just get really into things and get like, I love variety. So,
Hmm.
growing up, even before I got to travel to all those places, and the only places I really knew were Mexico and um, here, I would listen to stuff from all over the place. Some of my favorite bands were German and Finnish. And I would listen to classical music as well as musical theater and jazz and folk and like from any decade, like literally anything. I would
Yeah.
follow the rabbit hole all the way down. And that definitely has continued. Like I still listen to a lot of different genres and um, I think that that also allows me to like want to go explore new things, to like want to go see different countries and listen to music and musicians from those countries. And has I think also helped me be more, I guess, open and accessible when collaborating with people. I have some collaborators that are based in Spain or based in Canada or, just all over the place. And like if the language if whenever there's language barriers, I'm just like whatever, we can make through it. Like
Yeah.
we can on captions, I can
Yeah.
will translate. Like what's more important to me is that like that we get to work together.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool, just having like a varied kind of experience because I don't know, I don't want to be bored.
Yeah. Yeah. No, music is definitely one of those international languages, just like love and science and ketchup for some reason,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
but yeah, no, that's awesome. Of all the genres that you listed, is there one that you would kind of like to, venture into and either do a certain cover or song or an
Yeah.
album?
So I definitely started off with folk because that was the most accessible to me at the time.
You said
Um,
folk?
folk, yeah. But then
Okay.
I ventured off into cinematic pop, and um, I have some unreleased things that I'm like pitching right now for sync licensing that are more pop punk, more rock.
Okay.
I've done some jazz, literally anything. I think that for upcoming album ideas, I want to go in like a pop punk direction and just kind of see um what that opens up. I've met some producers that are really good at
Hmm.
that genre. I'm not quite there yet with my production, so it's great to be able to expand to other people and be like, hey, I'm not good at this yet, but do you want to work on this song? And
Yeah.
people are like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then I can like ask a bunch of questions like, how did you get your guitars to sound that way? What kick are you using? And stuff
Hmm.
like
Oh, that'll be very exciting to hear and have you explore those genres. What instruments do you play?
that. Vocals are like my main, but I
Okay.
do play guitar and piano and ukulele.
Okay. Nice. Good mix.
Yeah.
Um, and I was going to ask, as far as, because you said something that made me think of this. Do you get a lot of, hey, you sound just like this person? And I certainly, don't
Mm.
like to be labeled or anything like that, but
Oh,
we
I
have to
wish,
admit that, we're
uh,
all connected somehow, and the influence
oh,
shows.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
wish that would happen more often,
Yeah.
but that doesn't actually happen very
No.
often. And it's a struggle because, like, when I'm pitching myself to things and like playlists or like sync licensing opportunities,
Hmm.
and they're like, what artist do you sound like? I'm just like, I don't know. Not enough people are telling me what I sound like. Um,
Can I give you a couple?
yeah,
Okay. Because Become Undone, I think, is just a lovely song, number one.
thanks.
I From that I heard remnants of like Mazzy Star and Cowboy Junkies.
Oh, cool. I haven't
It
heard Cowboy Junkies, but Mazzy Star is pretty cool.
Okay. And you haven't heard of Cowboy Junkies?
Mm-mm.
No? They're pretty good band. But there's at least one or two other artists that it reminded me of, but I can't place it. Like the song's there somewhere in my head in those files, but I just can't place it.
Yeah.
So if I think of it, I have to keep on listening to it. I think of it, I'll let you know. But those are definitely two artists that came to mind when I was
Cool.
listening.
Yeah. I'll be totally honest. I know one song from Mazzy Star, and that's like that Fade Into You song that's in all the movies.
Check out Into Dust.
Into Dust. Okay.
You will fall in love with that song. It's they certainly aren't necessarily a pick me up type of group, but but they have beautiful music. But Into Dust
Cool.
is one of my favorite songs of all time, but of theirs. Um, and you said your first album came out in 2018 or 2019?
20,
Okay.
oh
Uh,
gosh. I think 2019.
Okay. I thought I had read somewhere it was 2018.
You know, I don't know. That
The
feels
last few years have been a blur for everybody.
so. Um, yeah, I know it was right before pandemic though, right? So I
Yeah.
think that,
Well, March 2020 is when we went into shutdown
yeah,
mode.
I think it was 2019
Yeah.
actually. I might have, if you read it somewhere, I might have like mistyped it somewhere else
Yeah.
because honestly, that just feels like a lifetime ago. Like
Yeah.
things
Oh,
so
definitely.
different.
I mean, so many experiences since then. But what was that experience like of, just making that project come to life?
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I asked some friends from college if they would join me on the songs. My friends Drew and Anna. Drew plays trumpet and he also sings, and Anna does piano and cello. Oh, and then sometimes I had Kevin who would do percussion, and so
Okay.
we would um meet at my previous apartment and have these super long rehearsal days because we just wanted to like learn all the music. Because the intent was to get really good at the songs together and then like go record them at a studio.
Hmm.
At the point I didn't have any production experience. I didn't really know what it was. Um, and along the way, we got gigs. We did a little couch tour where we like started off playing in someone's living room, and then at the end of the show, I'd be like, "So, who wants to host the next one?" And
Yeah.
then people were like, "Yeah, okay." And so we just kind of went through the summer like that, playing throughout Chicago and the suburbs
Nice.
and southern Wisconsin, and then we finally got to record the album, and that was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't play with them anymore, um, but that's okay. I feel like
Yeah.
the way that I see bandmates, I'm just like, if the music speaks to you and you want to be here, then
Hmm.
come be here. You know, like I
Yeah.
don't care what level of music you're at, or like, or what you play. Like if somebody came up to me with like the most obscure instrument, I'd be like, we can make it work. Like
Yeah.
let's figure it. Um, yeah. So like right now I'm playing with a different band, but it's again one of those things where like they came up to me and were like, hey, I really like what you're doing. Like these songs are really cool. Can I like sing backup for you sometime or play
Hmm.
violin, whatever? And I'm just like, yeah, the more the merrier. You know, like um, I don't like to keep people against their will, but
Yeah.
if people are enjoying what's going on and stuff,
Yeah.
then yeah, let's do it. And we're gonna have another show coming up actually on the second, like right before
Oh,
this,
nice.
um, at Uncommon Ground, and I think most of the band is available, but it's never like even if like just one person shows up, I'm just like, great, let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Speaking of backup, did you sing backup on Stay Warm,
Oh no,
Katie
Stay
Dwyer?
Warm.
That is your song?
Yeah. Okay. So the
Because Spotify, I thought it was
so
because
that's
it comes up
actually a
on your
interesting project.
Spotify, but then it comes up as Katie Dwyer, and then when you click on it, it's Katie Dwyer and you and I think
Yeah.
one other
So
person.
okay. So for that whole EP, the Stay
Yeah.
Warm EP,
Yeah.
it was my friends Katie Dwyer and Jesse Max, and at
Okay.
this point, we are all production newbies. We
Okay.
like figured out how to hook up our microphones and our interfaces, and we're like, let's make some holiday tunes
Yeah.
because it's like holiday tunes don't go out of style.
Yeah.
And so we each decided to do two songs. Um and Jesse ended up just doing the one, but that's okay. And we are like, how can we make a collaborative release so like it's all one group, but like it's all of us.
Hmm.
And at this point, we literally don't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're all producing our songs on our own. We're
Hmm.
giving each other feedback and stuff. I think Katie was the person who mastered everything because she was a little bit more advanced than Jesse and I, and so we all gave her our tracks to master at the very end. And then she's like, "Oh well, I already have the tracks. Do you want me to just upload them to the distributor?" And we're
Hmm.
like, "Yeah, cool beans." And so like she puts all of our names in there. So like at
Yeah.
in Spotify, like you should see Katie Dwyer Sunflower Summit
Yeah.
Jet, and it does appear on all of our profiles.
Okay.
We haven't figured out how to change the order according to the song,
Yeah.
or so like none of us are actually singing on any of each other's songs.
Okay. So you wrote that song and you're
Yes.
singing. Okay.
Uh huh.
That's number one. I could tell that it's a holiday song. But that song could probably be played any time of year.
That's
It's a
actually
beautiful song.
Yeah, and that actually happens. I see in my statistics that that song like persists all year long. People are just
Yeah.
listening to,
It's a great
and
song.
I'm just like, okay. And at first I was like, that's just my family because when that song came out, I made a really really cheap lyric video and I
Hmm.
just put a bunch of pictures of my family in Mexico in a
Yeah.
slideshow and then put the lyrics underneath. And I
Hmm.
was like, Merry Christmas, here you go. So so at first I was like, oh, it's just them. They're like listening to the song or whatever. And like,
Yeah.
wait, this is people are listening in different countries and like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Like that's going around. That's cool. And like all
Yeah.
year long, like caught it caught us all off guard a little bit. Actually, Katie and I were talking about this like literally earlier this week. We're like, oh my gosh, yeah, Stay Warm is still being played.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah,
I loved it. Well,
thanks.
thank you for clearing that up now that I know. Now I know it's you.
Yeah.
Um, so I have to ask because there's a number of songs about snow. Were you like challenging yourself to see how many songs you can write about snow, or what
It
do you
was an
find that's so inspiring and fascinating about snow?
I love snow.
Yeah.
I love snow. I love snow. The longer you stick around my profile, you will see that snow is a year-long thing for me.
Yeah.
Hot weather is awful. I can't. It's so hard in the summer. I don't like summer, which I
Yeah.
know is like very controversial,
Mm.
but
Well, especially being Mexican American, you
I'm
like
just
the
like
heat.
I couldn't do it. Like I
Yeah.
have family who live in like desert areas too, and
Hmm.
I've visited them, and I'm just like, how do you survive here? Because
Yeah.
it was
Give me seasons.
just oh my gosh. Um, so for that, I meant to just maybe make one or two no songs.
Hmm.
Um, I started working on them on Halloween
Okay.
because in the past few years it has snowed on Halloween, but this past Halloween it didn't snow.
Yeah.
And I was mad. I was like, "Where's the snow? I'm going to like sing for the snow." So I like
Hmm.
started writing snow songs in hopes that it would snow. It didn't snow.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of kept going because the ideas kept coming. I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll just make it a little EP. We'll do like 4 or 5 songs." And then
Hmm.
it
Cool.
was going. And I at this point, so I produced all of that one by myself, and then the album right before that, In This Moment, I produced with Katie and with our friend Caridad, who is in Ecuador, and that album is like very much co-produced, co-mixed, co-mastered, very much a group effort.
Hmm.
Um, but the time between the release of that album and the release of the Snow Songs, I became a verified artist with Songfinch. So I was getting more work with them rather than like
Okay.
here's a one-off song. Now I'm getting like 4 or 5 songs a week.
Hmm.
So then I had to grow a lot as a producer. I had to like really improve my quality of work so that I could keep up with everything and continue to be like a go-to person for them because it's really fun to like just get to be home writing and producing songs and getting paid
Yeah.
for it. Like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So my experience level between the release of In This Moment and the release of When It Snows, the whole snow collection, even though it's the same year, it's just wildly different.
Yeah.
And I was able to mix and master that one all myself instead of I didn't really need to collaborate with anybody. I do like collaborating. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. It was kind of that part was the challenge for me. It wasn't so
Yeah.
much how many snow songs can I write. It was more like, oh, but can I actually get this to the level that I want it to be by
Yeah.
myself? Can I actually challenge myself enough to be a better producer for this in a short amount of time because I wanted to get it out before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then I was so proud of myself. I ended up releasing the extended version with the extra song that I was like, did not have as much time to work on, but you know. And then I released the instrumentals because I was like, I like these instrumentals. They need a home. Even if
Yeah.
nobody listens to them, I don't care. I will listen to them.
Yeah, no, I saw them on the list as well. So that's great. I mean, that's definitely an accomplishment you should be proud of, without a doubt. Um, when you aren't performing or writing songs, what are you doing? What are your at least what are your favorite like hobbies or interests in your free time if you have any?
Oh yeah. I love puzzles, 1,000 piece puzzles. I have a whole bookcase full of puzzles. Um, and I also really like sewing and crafts. And I'm trying to teach myself how to make my own clothes because I'm just kind of like not really into contributing to the whole clothing catastrophe that is the
Yeah,
fashion industry.
yeah,
I do love fashion, don't get me wrong, but I just don't want to contribute to that.
yeah.
So I've been focusing on just getting things thrifted or handed down, and I'm like teaching myself how to make my own clothes. Um, I love reading. I'm trying to write my own book,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna start with like a poetry book. So um, I've just been challenging myself to write as frequently as I can.
Hmm.
Um, I used to be so good. I used to write one poem a day, and I think I kept that up for like 4 months, just about. But when the weather got warmer, it just got harder for me to like focus on this because other people were pulling my time and my attention in other
Yeah.
places. So now I'm down to like two, maybe 3 poems a week, and I'm just like,
Okay.
keep writing. Because I like my intention with just writing a lot of poems is like to be able to at the end of the year go back, read all the poems, uh, trash all the poems that are bad and keep the ones
Hmm.
that are good, and then workshop the ones that are good until like they're ready to like be formatted into a book, and maybe do some research and see what
Yeah.
publishers take it and stuff like that.
Don't trash
So
all of them. I mean, don't trash. I wouldn't suggest you. I
by
wouldn't.
trash,
I wouldn't suggest you trash
the
any of
slogans.
them. I meant to say just keep them because you never know. It could be like an inspiration for something
Oh,
better.
oh yeah, for sure. By trash, I mean they go into the folder labeled "I don't
Yeah.
like these,"
Yeah.
and then
Revisit.
I have another folder that's called "I like these," and
Yeah.
that's literally how I've been like sorting them out. Oh goodness, but um, just wanting to explore different areas of writing is
Yeah.
important to me. So
Are you familiar with Seth Godin? He's a
yes.
writer. Yeah. He recommends that people just write. I mean, he commits to writing a blog every
Mhm.
day. I don't know. I can't imagine he writes every single day, or he probably just has a bunch and posts it on his, because I get an email from him every morning. But he recommends just write something every day.
Yeah. Oh,
Whether you
I
like
am.
it or not, just write, because there should never be any reason for writer's block. Just start writing.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I was saying, talking about earlier. I'm just like, you don't need to dilly dally on like one thing.
Yeah.
Like, move on, keep writing, and
Yeah.
like you will work through whatever was getting in the way.
Yeah. So you touched on it earlier. Oh, before I forget, if you want, I have a friend and a client that she's part of a big sewing community here in
Hmm.
Chicago. If you want, I can definitely make an
Oh, that'd
introduction.
be great. Because
It's a pretty big
yeah,
community, to my
on
understanding.
community around sewing, I think is so valuable.
Yeah,
I've been watching YouTube videos and
yeah,
Skillshare videos, and it'd be nice to be able to like
yeah.
connect with people.
That is a skill that I don't think enough younger people have. And I mean, I'm a little older than you, I'm sure, but I wish that I had learned how to sew. And even if the people weren't creating clothes, usually you know, typically
Oh yeah, learning
our grandmothers were sewing, and
clothes. Yeah, mending clothes too. Like that counts because that
yeah,
helps increase the longevity of the life of the clothing that you're wearing.
exactly. Yep. It's a lost skill, and it's definitely one of those skills that at least one or two people in every household should have.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
But you touched on earlier about some upcoming projects. What are some projects you're excited to talk about or share that you like people to know about?
Yeah, for sure. So, I just released a song with Katie Dwyer, who we've talked about, called Fairy Dust. So
Mm-hmm.
that's out in the world. And then next month I'm releasing a song called Golden with my
Okay.
friend Alicia. I think she's using her moniker though. I think she's using Halo City. She's got a couple of different artist names.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it'll be out under Halo City and Sunflower Summit. And then in hopefully in July, we're still working with this other person to get the song mastered. Um, I'll release a song called Lovely to Be Loved with my friend Sue, who's down in, oh my gosh, I don't know what state she's in. Somewhere south. Somewhere south.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but I'm very excited to have those songs out there in the world. I might do a couple more releases after that. Who knows? I'm very
Awesome.
spontaneous about my releases.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just sitting on a song and I'll be like, this should be out there. Why am I just sitting on it? So who knows?
People
As far
should definitely follow you to keep track of all the
yeah, I
output.
need to revive my email list so bad. I got locked out of my active campaign email list, so
Oh
then
no.
I had to download everything and like I'm gonna start over with MailChimp. And
Yeah.
it's just so much work to like do that. So, but I should do that.
Yeah.
I'm also doing shows like June 2nd at Uncommon
Yeah.
Ground, 30th also at Uncommon Ground, and August 30th at the Golden Dagger. Um, and hopefully I'll be going on tour at the end of August.
Oh, nice.
The Golden Dagger show would be the last one. So far,
Yeah.
I've got shows in South Dakota because
Mm-hmm.
Katie is, if it's not obvious, she's my best friend.
Yeah.
uh,
Just come
she
up.
she lives in South Dakota,
Okay.
and she's a badass. She is the mom of 4 kids. She's
Mm-hmm.
a freelance music producer and audio engineer. She has mixed and mastered other people's albums as well as her own. She's just amazing. So yeah, she helped me book some shows in South Dakota. So at least that part of the tour is happening.
Okay.
We'll send out some more emails and get some more contacts going for the rest of it.
Very
But
cool.
we're on our way.
Yeah. Well, Maria, I can't thank you enough for chatting with me. I've checked out on Spotify. I love your sound. And I can't wait to see you on our stage at School Street Social, which is coming up very soon, Saturday, June 3rd. And for those of you who are watching, if you haven't heard Sunflower Summit, we're going to share their links below. So please take a listen. You definitely will not be disappointed. Any parting thoughts for us, Maria?
Thanks for hanging out. If you
Yeah.
want to get into music, just go and do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Words of wisdom.
Honestly, that's really starting is the hardest part, but if
Yeah.
you can get like determined to just start,
Yeah.
then things will follow, you know? And I look forward to seeing you all on June 3rd.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. And we'll see you then. And enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
All right, thank
All right.
you.
Take care.